Hi, everybody. So this is the first video for the series in the class, and I am going to go really slow. I'm going to go at a really slow pace so that everybody can feel supported. And the way this is going to work is I will make the videos. They're going to be a few minutes long, and it'll be showing you a certain skill. And then after you watch the video, and you might choose to watch it more than once if you need to, then there'll be a short assignment or skill to do. And then you're going to mark that as done. And we'll just continue through that pace until we get through all of the skills. So the first thing I'm going to start with is one, as I'm doing something right now called a screencast, which is like a videotape of my computer screen. And I have a software which I'll tell you about. It's free, and it's now free for teachers for the professional model, and it's been very helpful. But I do not like to show my face, so you're just going to have to listen to my voice and look at my screen. So what I wanted to start with is the purpose of Google Classroom and like what it is, because I've taken a bunch of classes in it, and Google Classroom is a really powerful tool for teachers, and it's a place where you can digitally place a lot of different work and assignments for kids, and it becomes one place where they can go and always know that the work from their teacher is there. It is also really great for doing documents back and forth between you and your students. So if you think about it, it's like kind of like a big binder where you would put everything a kid would need in your class, and it's just an organized place to go. What I have found with Google Classroom is that it has an incredible number of functions and features that are efficient and logical. But in my opinion, a lot of it's really geared at the upper elementary school kids. And I don't want to scare away anybody who works with younger kids, but it is not quite as friendly to the youngest students as it is for older kids. But there are lots of functions that once you learn how to do it, you can use it with younger kids. I've used it for about 3 years with my class. So the purpose of it is to kind of have a central place for a teacher to post the things that they want their kids to be working on. So I'm going to start with making sure that you can get to Google Classroom without any frustrations. And I'm going to first say that you can go to any Google page, but you always want to make sure that you're logged in as yourself in your school Gmail account, which is the one that's the Newburyport K-12. So if you work at home and you log in through your home Gmail account, you sometimes run into these strange glitches where you can't get certain things done. So one thing to always check is to make sure you're logged in under your school account, because Google links a lot of the functions somehow through our newburyport.k12 address. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I do know that there are times when I've been frustrated, and when I look, I'm logged in under my personal Gmail, not my school Gmail. So that's one important thing to know. And then next to this little ID circle that with your name, you'll see this thing, and we call this the waffle. That's what I call it with the kids, because they can visualize a waffle. So one of the downsides of Google Classroom is that it is it's sort of text heavy. There's not a lot of icons. Like I'm Catherine Cymbalou. The kid, you can say to the kids, go click on the yellow button with the guy that and in Google Classroom, that's not the case. So there's like little names and shortcuts that help with the kids. I think technology people call this thing the Google Apps something or other. I call it the waffle. So that's a helpful tip. So click on the waffle. And when you click on that, you're going to see all these Google apps. So these are the apps that come free with our Google School accounts. And for most of you, you'll see Google Classroom right up here. And this is where you want to go. It's like a part of your Google Suite, which is what this all is. If you don't see Google Classroom here, scroll down. And if you really don't see it, you can click on this More from Google Suite. But for most of us, it's going to be up here in the top 6 or so. So click on Classroom. And now you're in Classroom. It does take a few seconds to load. I'm not a very patient person. So I have learned that with Google Classroom, you kind of just have to breathe and then it'll load. But you'll know that you're in Google Classroom because you'll see this. And this is connected to your Google Drive where you might have documents and things, but it's kind of like a separate part of it. So once you're in this view of Google Classroom, you're going to see the classrooms you belong to. Now, I belong to kind of a lot because I have taken courses. I belong to different things. I'm also helping my grade level, so I have everybody's folder. But you will see I made this folder called Google Classroom GC, Google Classroom for Beginners, and that's where we're going to work out of this. So I'm going to do a very simple tour of some of the functions in Google Classroom that are just not specific to any classroom or any assignment, but just how to move around and navigate within it. So once you're in Google Classroom, these are all, if you think about them, they're all like a binder. So like I'm a super color-coded person, so I might say my black binder is for math, and my purple binder is for ELA, and my green binder is for that. So think about it like that, like these are your binders. And when you get into the binder, you're going to see sections, which are your topics, and those are like your dividers. So I'll go from there, but I'll go on that in a minute, but just think about these as like separate dividers. Separate binders, okay? So you can scroll down, and these are all separate folders. This is your Google Classroom landing page. This is where it goes usually when you click on that. And I'm going to show you this thing. So this is the waffle, and this is the hamburger. And again, these are helpful with younger kids. So if you click on the hamburger is going to show you this same set of Google Classrooms, but it's in a list, okay? And anytime you want to get back to this view, if you're in another part of Google Classroom and you need to get back here, you're going to click on the hamburger, and then you can click on the house, which is the home page. Then you can get back here. So as you get more familiar with Google Classroom, this is a handy button to know because it can quickly help you navigate. Okay? So I'm going to go into my Google Classroom that I'm having right now for my for our virtual learning, and this is what the whole third grade has put together, and I know a lot of other grades have something very similar. So when I click on that, you're going to see that it is familiar. Okay, so here's my classroom, and when I click on it, it always lands on this page, which is the stream. And this is a picture I uploaded of my class. That's a fancy last step. If anybody wants to know how to do that, I can show you. But it's not necessary, but it is kind of fun. So it always lands in the stream. And the stream is like a series of messages to anyone who belongs in the class. Mostly what this one is saying is that certain things are posted. So here's something. These are comments my kids in my class made. This is so sweet. These kids made comments. So if kids made comments, you can see them here. And in my real life in the classroom, when I use it with kids, I basically don't really do this page at all. I find it's kind of too much for younger kids. It's great for middle and high school kids. They can come here and they can see assignments that are posted for them. They can see what work is coming up. You can share news right here. In my experience, I just tell the kids, when you click in Google Classroom, you're going to land on the stream. You don't want to be there. But it's the default spot. So the stream is where it lands, and then there's other sections. There's the classwork. This is the most important tab. This is where you're going to do all the work, and this is where the kids are going to do all the work. There's the people tab, and this will show you who is in the class as students and who's in the class as teachers. Students have this same view of these three things, but in a teacher's view, you're also going to have this grade thing. So I'll talk a little bit about the grades. I will show it later on in our little courses, but it really is a tool and a function that I think for many younger elementary school teachers it's not the most useful part of Google Classroom. I'll show you. It's like a grade book where you can give points to things, and you can, I don't have mine actually configured. It does an automatic configuration of it, but that's what the grades are. I personally have never used it, but it'll quickly show you, whoops, what happened there? It'll quickly show you who turned things in, and how many points they got if you assigned a point value. So again, this is a function that I personally have never used. I know a little bit about it, and if anybody wants to know more, I will certainly share what I know. But I have found that it's not the most useful thing for younger kids, but it's there. So I'm going to come back to classwork, and the classwork tab is where you want to do most of your work and most of what the kids are going to see. So I'm just going to go over the parts of this page, and that's it. That's the end of video 1. So when you're in the classwork tab, there's a couple important things to know about. This button up here is the Create button. This is really helpful. This is where you have to go whenever you want to start something. In the next couple of videos, I'll talk about when you click on Create, there's all these different things you can do. But this button is at the top, and it's the most useful. The calendar links you to your Google Calendar. The class drive folder I'll explain at the end, because this is sort of useful at the end of a Google Classroom course. It's not useful in the beginning. So if you're looking at this, mine happen to be blue. Google kind of picks your color scheme for you based on what you select. We'll talk about that in a different video, but the colored bar here, that is called a topic. So if we go back to the analogy of a binder, this is like your divider. So this is your topic, and then these are your assignments underneath, okay? So we see this thing that looks like a clipboard. That is an assignment. This thing that looks like it won a ribbon, this is called material. And again, down the road, I'll explain that. But for right now, for you to understand, when we're talking about a topic, we're talking about this, which is like your divider. And then these other things, I'll go to my classroom, are the assignments. And this thing means it's material. Okay? So I'm going to stop there. That's enough for the first video. And your assignment, which is posted back in Google Classroom underneath this video, is to just log in, open Google Classroom, play around with the hamburger, move yourself in between the stream, the classwork, the people, check out just the different parts of the introductory Google Classroom page. Great. Hope you're successful. That's a nice, easy start. And then just email me if you have any questions.